If you're new to piano or just coming back to it, we're going to help you read chords and get you started so you can play more songs on the spot. Hi, I'm Sally Gates. I've been performing, teaching, and composing for many years. I like to use these piano chords cheat sheets from iVideo songs. They're laid out well, easy to use, and will help you jump right into playing faster. You can find them at Amazon by clicking the link in the description below. If you're watching this video, you probably already know that a chord is a group of 3 or more notes played at the same time. They have set intervals or distances between each note. This piano chords cheat sheet shows you how to play major, minor, diminished and augmented triads, which are 3-note chords, as well as major 7, dominant 7, and minor 7, which are 4-note chords. The beauty of this chart is that it has all of these chord types laid out in all 12 keys in an easy to read way, where the notes that you'll play are colored in. So before we dive in, let's pause for a moment and talk about hand technique. You want to keep your fingers nice and relaxed and rounded, almost like you're holding a bubble and you don't want it to burst. You're going to play between the pad and the tip of your finger. Right about here is where you'll hit the keys. So by keeping this nice technique, you'll be able to move around easily, and you won't strain yourself, so you'll be able to keep playing all throughout your lifetime. You'll also be able to maneuver around more easily and tuck your thumb underneath like that. Let's get into how to use this chart. The left-hand column shows you all 12 notes. These are your root notes for each chord type shown in the horizontal rows. For example, if we look at C, we have the chords that use C as a root. So C major, C minor, C dominant 7, C minor 7, diminished, and augmented triads. You can work with this chart to play all of these chord types in a row, which will help you hear the differences between them and memorize the fingering. You can also practice taking one type of chord vertically through the chart. For example, a major triad. Major triads are 3-note chords that use the 1st, 3rd, and 5th degrees of the key signature. So for more on that, you can see our video on scales. So let's look at C major again. So our first note is C, 3rd is E, 5th is G. And you want to make sure you're using your thumb, middle, and pinky for that. So now we can move this type of triad up and down each key. So if we go to D major, E major, F, G, A, B, and C. You want to make sure you practice these with both hands. And a great exercise for this is creating an arpeggio, which is almost like a broken chord. You're playing each note individually. So you can move it up through each triad. And this is a really good exercise for your left hand, which usually handles the bulk of the chord playing in piano music. And this is a really common pattern that you'll find for accompanying a vocalist or any kind of melody line. Or you can even use it to practice and improvise with the C major scale. So let's look at a minor triad. This has a flat 3rd, which means it's a half step lower than our major 3rd, which in the case of C minor, our 3rd is going to be E flat. So we have C, E flat, G. So if we look at A minor, we have A, C, and E. And so here's something fun. If we move this back to our C major triad, we're already playing the start of Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. So now let's look at an example of the 7th chord, which might sound daunting, but we're really only adding one extra note, which is the 7th. In C major, our 7th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is B. So we're just going to add that to the top of our major triad. So 1, 3, 5, 7. And again, use your thumb, index, middle, pinky. The back of this chart has a formula column, which shows you how each chord is structured, meaning which degrees of the scale we use to play it, and whether they're flattened or sharpened. So to find C dominant 7, we can see it's got a 1, 3, 5, and flat 7. For C minor 7, we have a 1, flat 3rd, 5, flat 7. So C, E flat, G, E flat. And you'll notice too on the other side, all of these chords are listed there and they're coloured in to show the notes that you need to play. So you have two different ways to learn these and memorize it. So for another example, let's look at diminished and augmented triads. So you can see the diminished has 1, flat 3rd, and flat 5. So C, E flat, G flat. An augmented triad has 1, 3, sharp 5, C, E, G sharp. So for diminished triads, we're actually stacking minor thirds, and augmented triads, we're stacking major thirds. So work your way through this chart. Make sure you practice each chord type in both hands. Once you become familiar with a few of them, you're going to want to start putting them to use in songs. So let's go back to Hallelujah and take a look at those chord changes. There's a couple of ways you could approach this tune. If you wanted to sing the melody, you could play the chord in your right hand, play the root note, and the first note of that chord with your left. For example, like this. Or if you wanted to play the melody with your right hand, you can play the chords in your left. So here's how this tune would sound as a simplified piano arrangement. So try and follow along in your left hand, and then your right hand, and then put them together. So another great way to get comfortable with chords is to make up your own progressions. Start writing your own songs, experiment and have fun with it. Alright, thanks for watching and happy practicing.